What's going on? It's Bradley with Allaqcess Sports bringing you our second week or week 2 of our NFL Pick'em. I'm sorry if you were expecting to get our wide receivers and running backs video this week, but I've been a little under the weather. But the workday is done, it's late in the day, and it's time to get out our NFL picks before kickoff. Did we struggle a little bit last week? Yes, but a lot of teams did. I'm looking at you, Kansas City and Buffalo. So we're not going to slip up. We're making a perfect week. Or, as I always say, if you want to make money, fade me. If you want to have some fun, follow me. So give a like to the video, watch through it, drop a comment, and let me know where I went wrong. I like how this is week 2, and they're just now telling me, like, hey, Bradley, you listen, you're picking against the spread. Don't forget. Like, I get it. You don't have to give me these helpful hints. 6-10 last week. We almost cracked the top 100,000. Let's do a little bit better. I know we can. Thursday Night Football, we're not going to get too in-depth into this. I thought Philadelphia was going to play a lot better than they did week 1. Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, that offensive line looks absolutely horrendous. Kirk Cousins is ending up more on his backside than any other quarterback in the league for a second year in a row probably. The Philadelphia defense is going to have an amazing time against that line. I think the defense can hold Minnesota pretty low. It's going to be close. I'm going to lean Philadelphia just because I want to be a little bit different than everyone else you're hearing. Green Bay Packers against the Atlanta Falcons. That Green Bay rushing defense is terrible. One of the worst in the leagues last year, and it continued last week against the Chicago Bears. I like Bijan Robinson. I like Tyler Algier. I love the running backs, but if you have those wide receivers or the tight ends, either one of them, just don't play them. I'm sorry, your draft might have busted. Green Bay still has a lot of question marks on offense, a couple of injuries that they're still dealing with or lingering into the week. I'm going to be picking a little bit of an upset here. I'm going Atlanta Falcons, and I hate the Falcons. The Buffalo Bills at 8.5-point favorites over the Las Vegas Raiders. I really like this game. If you take a look at the quick preview, you'll see there's a lot of questionable tags here for the Raiders. Devontae Adams, Garoppolo, Carter, the starting safety, Trevor Moehrig, Jacoby Myers, who was out with a concussion. They have a lot of question marks on offense. So because of that, I'm locking in the Buffalo Bills at -8.5. A lot of things can change up until game time, but for right now, and for the purposes of this video, we're locking in the Bills by 8.5. Cincinnati can't come out and fall flat twice in a row, right? Like Joe Burrow, finally having a full week of practice after that calf injury, he's got a rebound, right? The Baltimore Ravens looked really good. Zay Flowers looked like he's going to be that guy. He's going to be wide receiver 1. He looks really good. And then you lose J.K. Dobbins. And then you have Gus Edwards. And then you put in Justice Hill at the goal line, who I think had 8 carries, all within the 5-yard line, and got 2 touchdowns out of it. Now, if you're a fantasy player and you picked up Justice Hill, I wish you the best of luck. Gus Edwards might be stealing some of those carries this week. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's Melvin Gordon. But Cincinnati Bengals -3.5. I think they can pull it off. I wouldn't be shocked if the Baltimore Ravens win this one. They have just a lot on offense. The defense looks pretty good. But you got to get it worked out. Joey B is not going to lose 2 games in a row. Right? Now, I don't like this line at all. I love the Detroit Lions at -6.5. I think Seattle's just one of those teams that's going to make it happen. That defense is terrible, but that offense is great. The Lions defense looks okay at times. They did lose Branch to an injury in week 1. Not sure if he's going to be playing in week 2. We have Jared Goff, who threw for 250-plus yards week 1, and Geno Smith, who only threw for like 112, 110 yards against the Rams. 6.5 points is a lot, but I think they can cover it. I'm riding the Detroit Lions train to 2-0 and covering by 7. I got to be honest, I'm already not very confident in these picks, so if you're retiring early, fade me. The LA Chargers, Tennessee Titans, Tajay Sharp actually out-snapped Derrick Henry in week 1. We talked about this before. Derrick Henry typically gets off to a slow start. Even if you look back at last year, I think he had 8 fantasy points and 8 fantasy points week 1 and week 2. I'm not surprised by that. LA Chargers have one of the worst, if not the worst, rush defense in the league. They give up a lot of yards before they even make contact with the running back. But because Tennessee is so slow to start Derrick Henry, I'm not as afraid of it as I would be if it was Derrick Henry being an absolute workhorse week 12, 13, 14, way down the stretch. I think this Chargers offense is for real. I think they have a lot of really good weapons. Kellen Moore is going to call some great plays. Joshua Kelly looks good. Austin Eckler looks good. Every weapon they have, you don't need me to mention them. You know they look good. I know they look good. LA Chargers -3.5. I don't care if they have to travel out east. Give me Justin Herbert. Who would have thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to be one of the top storylines from week 1? Baker Mayfield comes out and he lets America know he is that dude. Puts on a show. The defense looks incredible against the Minnesota Vikings. We've already talked about the Vikings offensive line being absolutely terrible. But who knew Baker Mayfield was going to come out and be that guy? Now, Rachaad White didn't live up to expectations week 1. I think he has a better chance to do that against the Chicago Bears week 2, who are a lesser team than the Vikings. But can that Bears offense get going? DJ Moore, not frustrated, but looked frustrated, seeing that he's in an offense that's only going to throw the ball about 8 times a game. Justin Fields can scramble. Khalil Herbert is capable. Roschon Johnson is capable. But that Bucs defense looks like it might be able to carry it to a couple of victories throughout the season. I take back all the terrible things I said about how terrible this team is going to be. I think it's going to be a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a last-minute field goal to put them up by 4, maybe 5 to win this game. But man, I can't believe I'm picking 2 NFC South teams. I absolutely love this game. Kansas City Chiefs. Is the world falling? Is the world panicking that the Kansas City Chiefs could be starting 0-2? With the Jacksonville Jaguars 1-0, Calvin Ridley looks like a stud. Trevor Lawrence looked good. Travis Etienne looked good. Tank Bigsby looks all right. Zay Jones looks good. Christian Kirk took a little bit of a backseat because of the Calvin Ridley addition. Are you going to judge me if I pick the Jaguars? Like, there's only 28% of people picking the Jaguars. So, like, if I pick it, you're going to be like, Bradley, are you stupid? And if I pick the Chiefs, you're going to be like, that's what I assumed you were picking. If I'm wrong, then you're like, oh, you were wrong with 3/4 of America. It's cool. If I'm wrong here, you're like, Bradley, you're an idiot. My dad always told me I was an idiot. Give me the Jaguars to cover plus 2.5 at home. I think this Kansas City defense is going to struggle a little bit from the pass. They get lost sometimes. Calvin Ridley has freakish speed still to this day. Kansas City is going to put up a lot of points. If they're without Travis Kelce, I'm hammering the Jaguars to win this one. If they're with Kelce, I might have to take a second look. Does anyone really want to watch this game? I mean, outside of having C.J. Stroud versus Anthony Richardson, you might want to watch that. But do you really want to watch the Houston Texans versus the Jonathan Taylor-less Indianapolis Colts? I don't think so, my friend. Not many people can name many wide receivers in this one besides Michael Pittman. I'll wait. If you did, congratulations. You have Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs from North Carolina, the Tar Heels. He looks like he's going to be a stud. They need to keep feeding him the ball if Anthony Richardson can hit a target. And then on the flip side, you have C.J. Stroud, who we have yet to see with John Mechie in the regular season. But you have Nico Collins, who looks pretty good. He looks like he's going to be the favorite target for C.J. Stroud. Is that going to be enough to get the job done? I don't think so. Dameon Pierce didn't look great week 1. Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson at least gives you a little bit of excitement. I know he's dealing with a little bit of a knee contusion. If he's 100% healthy, I think the Colts have a little bit more on offense than what the Texans bring to the table. So give me the Indianapolis Colts. I have no interest in watching it, but give me the 10-minute YouTube highlight reel. Some of the later games. Now we have some real wide receivers to talk about, okay? Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua. All right, now y'all know I'm kidding, obviously, but the Rams, I don't know how they did it, but they looked pretty good week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks. San Francisco looked like they are who you expected them to be. I picked the Steelers week 1. I regret everything. I make a lot of terrible decisions in life. I once ate an entire extra-large Brooklyn-sized pizza from Pizza Hut when I was 12 years old. I felt terrible the next 3 days, but I did it. And I don't regret it for a second. Brock Purdy continues to surprise me. I know I probably need to go ahead and just shift my mindset and accept the fact that Brock Purdy can get it done. You know I have love for Brandon Ayuk. I've said it before on our wide receivers videos that I absolutely love Ayuk as a wide receiver there in San Francisco. CMC, our Carolina boy, I've got mad love for him. I think they have enough to cover by 7.5. Rams, I don't know how well that offense is going to do against the San Francisco defense. That's a whole nother beast. San Francisco is too well-rounded. 7.5 is a lot to cover, but if there's a team that can do it, it's going to be San Francisco because they just proved they could do it last week. Come on, do we really think the Giants are going to be as bad as they looked week 1? Now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be as good as they illustrated. They're going to be very good. We've talked about it. I think they're going to have one of the most slept-on defenses in the entire league. But there's no way the Arizona Cardinals can really pull this one off, right? Daniel Jones will figure it out. He's going to get it to his weapons. Saquon Barkley should have an opportunity to at least get some touches in this game because it's not going to be 30-0 at the blink of an eye. New York Giants, the run game, the defense will come out to play. That defensive front will absolutely be able to get a little bit of pressure. Give me the Giants. Don't forget, before we go too far, we are going to give you our 3 locks of the week. Last week, our lock of the week went 2-1. I probably need to add that right here underneath me, but we went 2-1 last week in our lock of the week. And we're going to give you our 3 locks of the week, or Bradley's best, or the all-access, all-in at the end of the video. Dallas Cowboys against the Zach Wilson-led New York Jets. Now, I'll be honest. The Jets defense played better than I thought. We all know what Garrett Wilson's capable of. We know what those running backs are capable of. But really, it comes down to what can Zach Wilson do. And when he's under pressure, he does not look good. There are few teams in the league that are good at producing pressure as the Dallas Cowboys. I don't understand why this one is 36-64. I feel like it'd be more 75-25 like we saw with that Kansas City Jaguars America spread, even being this is America's team. I know. We actually hate them. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. Washington Commanders plus 3.5 against the Denver Broncos. They beat up on Arizona last week. The Broncos go down to the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't remember what his name is, but I saw a stat that came across that cornerback 2 of the Denver Broncos, not Patrick Surtain, cornerback 2 gave up 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I believe it was 7 catches. Jahan Dotson, you are going to need to step up, my friend. If you're going to have a game, this is the week to have a game. What they just did with Jacoby Myers in Las Vegas, you and Sam Howell need to be doing this week. I like Washington to not only cover by 3.5, I like them to win outright. Give me the Commanders. Are y'all really buying into the narrative that the New England Patriots are that good? I mean, yes, they played well against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they didn't play great. Miami Dolphins in conference rivalry. I think the Dolphins are the second best team in this conference, again, behind the Buffalo Bills until we see otherwise. I don't see how the Patriots can keep up with the firepower that the Miami Dolphins have. They could score 40 every single game. I don't trust Mac Jones to do that. You shouldn't trust Mac Jones to do that. Even Smythe looked good in week 1, and that's a tight end that we didn't see anything from last year. As long as Tua is standing and stays healthy, the Dolphins have a chance to put up a ton of points. It was, 450 yards last week? I mean, it was on like 50% completion percentage, but the offensive line seems to have gotten a little bit healthier. Kendall Lamb looked really good in a replacement role. I know he was kind of replacing a Pro Bowler, but Kendall Lamb at the left guard position looked really good. I think they're able to reproduce a lot of the success they had last week. New England Patriots on the other side, I just don't trust Mac Jones as far as I can throw him, and I'm very weak. I couldn't throw him very far. Give me the Dolphins. Now, here's 2 premier matchups on Monday Night Football. In division rivalries, we have the Carolina Panthers at plus 3.5 at home against the New Orleans Saints. Bryce Young is going to try and avenge himself from a 3-turnover game week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. And then you have the New Orleans Saints who come in all high and mighty with Derek Carr now as their leader, Rashid Shaheed, having a massive game week 1 where Derek Carr just says, run a go route and I'll find you. The New Orleans Saints do a lot of things well that the Panthers can't really compete against. They have an offensive line that makes way for running. The Panthers are not a good rush defense. The Panthers lose J.C. Horn. They now have Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed. More weapons, if you want to classify them, more skill position players than the Panthers are comfortable defending. The Panthers' offensive line just suffered another IR placement with Brady Christensen. That means this Saints pass rush is going to be able to get to Bryce Young, disrupt him, and throw him off his game. As much as it pains me to say, I want nothing more than the Carolina Panthers to win this game, but you all are probably going to think eventually that Bradley's a homer and he's just picking the Panthers every week. Give me the Saints to win on Monday night, and it sucks. I'm just glad more people are going to be watching this game. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. The Browns looked better than I anticipated week 1. That rush game looks good. The defense looks good. Myles Garrett looks like he's in midseason form already. The defensive backs have looked pretty good for Cleveland. On the flip side, the Pittsburgh Steelers just got slapped by the 49ers. Kenny Pickett didn't produce. You saw George Pickens on the sideline kind of vetting. Listen, I love it here, but this ain't it. He's frustrated. Allen Robinson somehow looked like the best wide receiver of the 3 of them. Pittsburgh might start to worry if they start the season 0-2, and I think that's exactly what happens. Give me Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb, David Njoku. I like Pittsburgh in the long run this season. I think they're going to get it figured out by the end of the year. I believe the hype that Kenny Pickett has. But week 2, give me Cleveland Browns. And now our all-access, all-in is going to start pretty early. Your Philadelphia Eagles at minus 7.5 over the Minnesota Vikings. Getting it started off tonight as a lock. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons plus 1.5 over the Green Bay Packers. I really like Atlanta's rush offense, and that's exactly what Green Bay struggles with. Love this one. I'm hammering those 2 in particular. And then number 3, give me the Los Angeles Chargers to win by at least a field goal over the Tennessee Titans. Keenan Allen has a massive game in this one. That's going to do it for this video. If you don't want to pick against the spread on ESPN with their pick'em program, you can always play on Vivid Picks with game props. That's where you're picking player props in the over or under in just the games they're competing in. Go out, check out the NFL Big Board. If you haven't signed up, sign up with my link down in the description. They'll get you started off with a couple of bonuses. Plus, they have some awesome game props like last week, Patrick Mahomes at 1 yard over under. That's an easy smash for the over. You can follow my plays or fade me on there. On Monday Night Football, we had a ticket that won over $100 just off of a $5 bet. Sign up today for your chance to win. Give a thumbs up to this video. Let me know where I went wrong, or let me know who is your lock of the week. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much. Hopefully the next time that I see you is down in the comments and in next week's video.